Today is December 7th, 2025, and this is a weekly update on the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas in the Gaza Strip, between Israel and Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, and against other terrorist entities around the Middle East. Shalom, my friends. This is the Kiva Gersh with Israel in 5, where we give you everything Israel in 5 minutes. Please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions or want to keep the conversation going, please do so below in the comments. This past week saw a few different incidents taking place in the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas in the Gaza Strip. And while the ceasefire does continue to hold, there was an incident in the Gaza Strip where terrorists emerged from a tunnel and attacked Israeli forces, injuring 5 soldiers, one seriously. As a result, Israel launched attacks in the Gaza Strip, firing back both at the terrorists who launched the attack and killing a number of them, but also against other Hamas strongholds and infrastructure sites in the Gaza Strip. In addition, Hamas released the remains of what they called a hostage, and in the end, when Israel brought the remains into Israel for investigation, they turned out to be not belonging to either of the remaining hostages. At the time, there were 2 remaining hostages dead in the Gaza Strip. A couple of days later, Hamas did release the body of a foreign national, a farm worker from Thailand who was here in Israel working on a kibbutz in the Gaza Strip area, who was killed and taken into Gaza on October 7th, 26 months ago to this day. His remains were brought into Israel and returned to his family in Thailand. That means that there is one remaining hostage who the entire country is waiting for his remains to return, so that he can have, and his family could have, a proper burial for him in the land of Israel, in the state of Israel, according to Jewish tradition. I think it's important to pause. 26 months ago today, October 7th, took place the vicious and barbaric attack on Israeli soil, on Israeli communities, killing over 1,200 individuals, including hundreds of soldiers. 250 hostages have been returned, either dead or alive, and yet we are still remaining for the last and final hostage to be returned. It's an incredible accomplishment that 250 hostages have been returned, dead or alive, and still the story is not closed. This work is not over until the last, and we're now up to the last hostage is returned home for proper burial here in Israel. On other fronts, there continues to be tension between Israel and Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, and this past week, Israel launched a wide range of attacks on Hezbollah locations in southern Lebanon, as a result of them continuing to try to build up, and the terms of the ceasefire not completely being carried out, specifically by the Lebanese government, who is responsible for making sure that Hezbollah cannot return to strength in southern Lebanon. So Israel basically takes care of business itself, and that is the main reason for the many attacks that have happened over the past many months, despite the ceasefire being in place almost for a year. That ceasefire will expire at the end of this month unless it is renewed. But again, Israel looks at their military attacks in southern Lebanon against Hezbollah not as a violation of the ceasefire, specifically since they're responding to ceasefire violations and Hezbollah's attempt to continue to build up. We'll know in the next few weeks what will be with the ceasefire, if it will continue or if it will come to an end. Basically, Hezbollah has announced that they answered to Iran, which everyone knew, but they verbally expressed that this past week. And whatever Iran wants them to do, that is what they will do. A historic first took place this past week, with civilian representatives from both Lebanon and Israel meeting in Lebanon with American negotiators to sit down and to talk about terms of a final ceasefire deal, a final peace deal, possibly even between Israel and Lebanon. Israel and Lebanon have never had serious talks about peace between the two countries. There's been an ongoing ceasefire literally since the end of the War of Independence in 1949, And while Lebanon has not actively engaged as a country, as a military against Israel pretty much since 1949, terrorist entities in southern Lebanon have, starting with PLO, already starting in the 1970s, and of course Hezbollah since the 1980s up until today. Last bit of news is that there were a couple of attempts this past week in the area of Judea and Samaria of terrorists attacking IDF soldiers. One was able to attack 2 soldiers with a knife. Fortunately, they were only lightly wounded and were able to neutralize, meaning kill the terrorist. It was a result of a routine check of a suspicious looking individual in the area of Judea and Samaria. It turned out that their suspicions were right, and he was able to actually take out a knife during the interrogation and lightly wound the soldiers, but fortunately they were able to neutralize him before he could carry out any further damage or injury or attack. Similarly, in the Hebron area, there was an attempted attack on Israeli soldiers there, and unfortunately they were able to neutralize the terrorists as well before he was able to carry out any serious attack. And this just reminds us of the ongoing attempts in Judea and Samaria of terrorists that are trying to attack both IDF soldiers and civilians. And the vigilance of the IDF soldiers there, who constantly, literally every single day, literally every single night, gathering information, collecting intelligence, and working off of intelligence to seek out and to arrest or kill terrorists who are planning attacks against Israelis. Those are the updates for this day, December 7th, 2025. And always, as always, thanking all of you for your support and your continued love and prayers for Israel, specifically the soldiers, and as we pray for the last hostage to return home to a proper burial here in Israel. All the best, my friends, and be well.